Hi guys, it's Kelly Lativola here, and I'm back with another video for Neat and Tangled. Today I'm going to be using some products from the newest release. This is the Stitch Slopes, the Bunny Slope stamp set, and then the coordinating dies. I am going to be stamping out my images, and I stamped out a bunch of them in Intense Black ink from Simon Says Stamp because I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring. I thought this stamp set was totally adorable. I really like how many images you get, even though it's kind of a smaller set, and it's super easy to build a scene with, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing today. And it's not even a one layer scene because I'm using dies. Aren't you proud of me? I mean, I'm still Copic coloring, so I'm really not branching out that much, but you know, I'm branching out a little bit. So I wanted my bunny to be white. I prefer to color any objects white with the cool grays. That's just my preference, but you can definitely use warm or toner, neutral, whichever ones that you have. And when you're coloring something white, you're just adding in the shadows, really. So I'm adding in shadows kind of underneath his hat, where his ear is bent over, on his belly. I tend to color just like as a leftover from the one high school art class I took, as if my light source is in the top right-hand corner. So I'm going to be adding my shadows to the left-hand side. You do whichever you're comfortable with. So you can do like a central point where your highlight is in the center and then you kind of add shading to both sides. Or if your light source is in the left, then your shadows would go on the right. Whatever comes naturally to you. There isn't a right or a wrong way. This is just the way that I always do it. So I'm adding shadows. Like I said, you're just adding the shadows when you're coloring an object white. So I am adding in some C5, but I'm only adding in just like a teeny tiny amount so that I basically can get that contrast. He's going to look pretty gray, like a little dirty bunny for right now because we haven't really added in any other colors. So when you have that gray on white, it does look dark. But as we add more colors to their little outfit and put them inside the scene, it will start to look more white. So just hang tight. I picked two brighter RVs to add just a little bit of color to the ears and the nose. I'm going to blend that out with a lighter RV00, and I'm also going to use that to add a little bit of blush to the bunny's cheeks because, man, if you're out there hustling some ski slopes, you're going to be red-cheeked, breathing hard. I don't know. I've never been skiing, but I've seen pictures, and those people look like they put in work, which is probably why I've never been skiing, because work. Anyway, I picked kind of some desaturated colors to... I knew I wanted to make my quote-unquote snow background shaded lilac distress ink. So I picked the colors that I thought would go really well with that. It's like a lavender color. So again, I'm adding the shadows on the left-hand side of my image. For the scarf, I'm adding it kind of to the left and the right so that the highlight's in the center. That's going to give it some movement. Looks like it's waving where something is... I guess when you add the shading, it helps create those peaks and valleys, which visually creates some movement within the object. And again, I'm not adding a ton of the darker color. I am adding a little bit more than I did with the C5 because I do want it to look pink and like it has some depth. But these, this color combination is not traditional. It's not something that you're going to find in a Copic set. It's an R81, I'm sorry. Is it? Yeah, it's an R81, an RV34, and an R56. So that isn't necessarily anything that you would see together like the violets we're going to use, which is a V22, 25, 28. Those ones are a set. That's a natural blending group. But that doesn't mean that you always have to follow what is a natural blending group. You can mix and match. And even though I use two R's and one RV for the scarf, they still go very nicely together. So just keep that in mind when you're purchasing your Copics or the Copics that you have in your arsenal. It's okay to kind of mix and match if those colors look like they would work well together. Try it on a scrap piece of paper. There's no need to just, buy every single blending group. You may have something that will already work or something that will work that you already own. So I use the violets to just color the accents on the little ski outfit. and I decided I wanted to make the outfits striped. It probably would have been easier to just color those in all one color, but I thought that it would be something fun to kind of add to alternate that between white and purple. I also did the skis that color. I don't know if there's purple skis out there. I imagine that there are. And this little bunny is like super matchy and everything is coordinating, because if I skied, that's how my outfit would be. Like I can't help myself. Everything has to match. I couldn't have like, I don't know, red skis, and I don't even know what doesn't go with red. That was a bad example. Moving on. Anyway, I couldn't have an outfit that didn't match. So for my trees, which I stamped out a couple of these, like I said, we're going to be building a scene. I decided to just fill them in completely with my lightest color, and then I'm going to add little flicks of color coming down from each like segment of the tree, so that it does have some depth and those layers look like one is coming out from underneath the other. If you've watched my videos before, you've heard me say it. Typically, if an object is meeting another object, if two things are laying on top of one another, there's going to be a shadow. Can't go wrong with that. So here I'm just working out from my lightest color to my darkest, from my darkest back into my lightest. I probably should have made the little tree slightly darker than the big tree, because in real life they wouldn't exactly be the same color. Things that are more compact do tend to look darker. But I was just, in the flow and doing my thing, and I wasn't really thinking about that. And I think it looks fine either way. I probably don't even need all this shading, to be honest. Probably could have done a couple of lines underneath each segment and it would have got my point across. So sticking with that kind of desaturated colors that I have already been using, I decided to go with the B90 family for my, what are they, what are those called? Why is that eluding me? Anyway, the way that they're shaped, I decided to add the shading kind of to the center, just to give them a little bit more shape. So I'm going up from the center toward the top and down from the center toward the bottom. So my lightest points are going to be on the top and the bottom, because I feel like that's how they would look. I'm going to use those same C markers to add the shading in to like the connector piece. And again, I'm just adding very minimal of the C5. For the windows, I decided to bring in a B quadruple zero. They're basically the same color, honestly. I own them both, but they really are like the same thing. Outfit, because I just love adding details. I can't help it. I decided to make the hat and the scarf polka dotted, and then I like a bold black outline, so I outline all of my images. If you're going to do this, make sure you do it before you do the die cutting, because I've made that mistake before, and then I'm chasing these little die cuts all around my desk trying to outline them, and it's just it's not good. Just putting my dies in place. I'm going to hold them in place with some washi tape. And then I have some glitter paper. It's actually white glitter paper from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to use this to cut out my snow drifts. So you get two in the stitched slopes set. And I used both of them to cut out two separate pieces. Here, I didn't want my background to be just white. I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more interesting. So I'm kind of laying this out so I can see how everything is going to look. And then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to very lightly mark on the white cardstock where my slope's going to be. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the secondary slope so I can see where that's going to sit. There's that, why can't I think of the name of it? I just said it. I literally just said it, guys. The shaded lilac. Oh, wow. Long walk, Kelly. Anyway, I'm using an ink blending tool and blending that on the paper. You can see that it looks terrible. It looks awful. The reason it looks awful is because I'm going to cover that part up, so I don't care. I wasn't trying to be conscientious about it. I did kind of want like a spattered or a snowy look in the background. So I'm not working on watercolor paper, so I'm using minimal amounts of water here. I did just kind of flick on some clean clear water to break up the blending that I had already put down. And then I smushed some of that shaded lilac on an acrylic block so I could spatter that. And then if you've been watching the videos anytime in the past 2 months, you know what's coming next because I cannot stop myself. I have no self-control. Perfect pearls. You can see I was like, ta-da! Did you see my hand? Even when I was making it, I was like, I know they're going to be like, oh my gosh, with the perfect pearls, Kelly. But I can't stop using it. And honestly, I've never bought another jar. Do you know how long I've owned this jar of perfect pearls? I have used it in the past. Like, this isn't the first time I've ever used it. And it just lasts forever, and it gives such a pretty shine. I'm totally good with it. So after this, I laid everything out, and then I really didn't like how just it was white on white. So I was like, well, I'll try to add some shading to the glitter paper. Oh my gosh, you guys, it totally works. It totally worked. So now I'm super stoked because I own like a whole packet of this white glitter paper, and I just realized that I can color it with all of my distress inks, and it's awesome. I'm so excited. And even when I like blotched it on there, you saw I was just pounced it right on there. It still looked, I could still blend over it, and it was good. So I needed something to add the little ski lift, the little carriers to. Ski lift. There we go. How long did it take me? Like 5 minutes after the fact. But anyway, so I just kind of drew my own. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never been skiing, but if you see a ski lift that looks like the one that I just drew, don't get on it because I'm pretty sure it's going to kill you. Like, it is so cattywampus. Just the thing looks bajiggity. But nonetheless, that's what it was, and I wasn't starting over again. So, I'm good with it. I'm just moving on. I adhered one of the snow hills, one of the little slopes flat with some Tombow multi-glue, and then the next one I popped up. Because my bunny is going to overhang both of those slopes, I'm going to add foam tape to the top of the bunny and Tombow multi-glue to the bottom of the bunny so that everything is flush, so it's laying on the same level. And then adhere that down. I did not take my foam tape or my glue all the way up to the edges of my snow, my die cut snow, because I wanted to be able to put these trees, I wanted to be able to slide them behind there. And then for the tree, which I don't even think I showed you, but for the tree on the one that's popped up, I did the same thing that I did with the bunny. So part of it has foam tape and part of it doesn't. I wanted to add some snow to the top of the trees. I thought that would be a cute little added detail. So I went in with my white gel pen and added that. And then I popped up my little ski carriers with some foam tape as well. The last thing that I am going to do to just kind of complete the card is we're missing a sentiment. So I tried black, I tried gray, I tried a bunch of different colors, and I didn't like any of them. What I ended up finding was this Velvet Orchid, which was a Simon Says stamp ink, and it matched that shaded lilac perfectly. So I stamped that on a white piece of cardstock. I did a very minimal banner shape on the end, and then I'm going to adhere this flat. I was a little nervous about how it would adhere to the glitter paper. It gave me no issues. It was totally good. So I'm going to put that down and then trim off the extra that's hanging over. To bring the whole thing kind of together, I am using Nuvo drops in Morning Dew, and these are the ones that dry completely clear, and they look like, I mean, they almost look like glass when they dry, which is so cool. So I added a couple of little dots of those. And then just to give the windows on the ski carrier some shine, I'm going to put in some glossy accents. I also dotted around my glossy accents a little bit around my background. Again, just to add some shine and some interest, a little bit of texture to the card overall. And I'm not even trying. I'm just letting the bottle do the work. I'm not squeezing or anything. I'm just dotting it around. And then that's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you will find something in this card to inspire you or a technique to try. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.